Have you ever tried to tackle something significant? You know it's important to begin. You even want to take action. But somehow, you find it impossible. You stare at the task. You feel completely immobilized. You're unsure where to even start. So, you reach for your phone. Watch a quick video. Respond to a text. Grab a snack. Tidy your space. You promise yourself, I'll begin in 5 minutes, and then, 5 minutes stretch into an hour. Sound familiar? You're not lazy. You're certainly not alone. Procrastination often doesn't stem from a lack of care. Sometimes, it's truly the opposite. You care deeply about doing well, making the task feel daunting, puzzling, overwhelming, or impossible to start. When that happens, your mind seeks a quick escape. Your phone. A captivating video. A game. A chat with someone. Anything to provide a momentary relief. This is why procrastination can be so frustrating. For a few moments, avoiding the task feels nice. But eventually, the task looms large. The deadline approaches. The pressure intensifies. And then, you scold yourself. You wonder, why do I do this? Here's the encouraging truth. You don't need more guilt. You don't need to wait for motivation to strike. You need a more effective approach to start. In this video, I'll introduce you to a 5-step system called the Start Reset. Spot. Turn. Arrange. Respond. Treat. By the end, you'll be well equipped for when you feel stuck and uncertain about your first step. Procrastination doesn't define who you are. It's merely a behavior. And behaviors can change. Let's begin by understanding the core issue. Imagine an assignment is due in 3 days. You open the document. You read the prompt. Suddenly, your mind starts spiraling with thoughts like, this will take forever. I'm not sure I get this. What if it turns out poorly? I'll handle it later when I feel ready. But later rarely proves more effective. Later merely becomes an even more stressful version of now. The work feels troubling. So, you escape. You find temporary comfort. Then, the task looms larger due to dwindling time. This ratchets up your discomfort. So, you escape yet again. This is the procrastination cycle. Task. Discomfort. Escape. Momentary relief. Increased stress. More avoidance. Many students mistakenly attempt to combat this with self-condemnation. They think, I must be more disciplined. I shouldn't be lazy. I can just push myself. But criticism fails to clarify a task. It doesn't simplify it. It doesn't eliminate distractions. And it doesn't instruct you on what to do first. That's where the Start Reset excels. It provides you with a distinct action at every point in this loop. The first step is spot. Identify what you're truly avoiding. Don't just say, I'm procrastinating. Ask yourself, what feeling am I avoiding right now? There are 4 frequent responses. The first is confusion. You're not evading the assignment. You're dodging the feeling of uncertainty. The second is fear. You worry the outcome won't meet expectations. Perhaps you fear getting it wrong. Or you worry a teacher will judge your effort as weak. The third is boredom. The task seems monotonous, slow, or pointless. The fourth is overwhelm. Your mind views it as a colossal mountain rather than manageable steps. So when you recognize avoidance, pause and identify the real issue. Say, this isn't laziness, I'm confused. Or, this isn't laziness, I fear it won't be good enough. Or, This isn't laziness. This task just feels massive. That simple statement can transform your approach. Because you can't tackle a problem you haven't identified. If confusion is the issue, seek clarity. If fear is present, allow yourself to draft an imperfect version. If boredom hits, commit to a focused shorter session. If it feels overwhelming, break it into smaller steps. This leads us to the second step. Turn. Break down that monumental task into one tiny action. Not a grand goal. Just an action. Complete my history assignment isn't an action. Study for math isn't an action. Work on my oral presentation isn't an action. They're too broad. Your brain sees them and thinks, maybe later. Instead, ask, what's the smallest physical action I can take right now? Open the document and jot down the title. Read the question once and highlight key terms. Write 3 haphazard bullet points. Locate one reliable source. Complete the first line of a math problem. Create 5 flashcards. Draft a single sentence. Send your teacher a quick message. That's all it takes. You aren't aiming to finish it all. You're just making it feel safe to start. Follow this rule to truly change your productivity. Don't ask, can I finish this? Ask, what's the tiniest action I can do in the next 2 minutes? You don't need to conquer the whole mountain tonight. You only need that first small step. You don't have to craft a flawless essay. You just need to write one rough paragraph. You don't have to revise an entire chapter. You only need to quiz yourself on 5 questions. Starting small doesn't mean lowering standards. It means dismantling the barriers between you and progress. The third step is arrange. Your environment either nurtures your effort or promotes your escape. Many students attempt to tackle procrastination using willpower, surrounded by distractions like phones, notifications, games, and multiple tabs. This scenario isn't fair. Don't make focus harder than needed. Before starting, modify your environment for one singular task. Place your phone in another room. Not face down beside you. Not silenced beside you. Another room, entirely. Close any unnecessary tabs. Open only what you need: the document, book, website, or question. Position your notebook and pen where you can see them. Make your next action clear. If you're studying vocabulary, have the flashcards laid out. If you plan to write an essay, open your document beforehand. If you're revising math, pick one question before you sit down. Make the favorable option easy. Make escaping just a bit more challenging. You don't need a perfect study environment. You simply need fewer distractions. The fourth step is respond. This is where many stumble. They create vague commitments. I'll study later. I'll do it after dinner. Tomorrow, for sure. But later isn't a concrete plan. Tomorrow lacks a strategy. Instead, frame your commitment simply. When this occurs, I will do this. For instance, at 7:30, when I sit at my desk, I'll open my biology document and note 3 things I remember from class. After dinner, I'll store my phone in the kitchen and tackle question 1 from my math book. When the urge to check TikTok arises, I'll write one more sentence first. If I encounter a confusing question, I'll spend 5 minutes pinpointing what confuses me. This approach is crucial because you establish intentions before challenges come up. You're not waiting for motivation to surface. You're armed with your strategy in advance. Motivation may help, but it's inconsistent. Some days you'll feel inspired. On many days, you won't. A clear plan empowers you to begin, even when motivation is elusive. And now, onto the last step. Treat. Look at a setback as feedback, not as a judgment of who you are. You will procrastinate again, it's human. The aim isn't to become a machine that avoids any distractions. The goal is to bounce back faster. So when you waste an evening, resist saying, "I always mess things up. I'm a failure. I'll never improve." That turns a single struggle into a personal identity. Instead, ask, what went wrong? Was the task unclear? Was it too complex? Was I fatigued? Was my phone nearby? Did I feel intimidated by potential failure? Had I made no genuine plan? Then, apply your findings. If the task felt overwhelming, simplify it. If confusion was the cause, seek guidance. If distractions came from your phone, move it away. If you were tired, schedule a shorter session for tomorrow. If you feared a poor outcome, aim for a rough draft instead of perfection. Shame insists. I'm the issue. Growth proposes. The system failed. I'll adjust the system. Let's visualize this. The old mindset may be, I must finish my essay tonight. You attempt to start. It seems daunting. You feel lost. So you scroll. You feel guilty. You avoid it altogether. Now, embrace the start reset. Spot. I'm worried my essay won't be good. Turn. My first action? Write a terrible opening paragraph. It doesn't have to be perfect. Arrange. My phone is in another room. My document is open. Only my prompt and notes are visible. Respond. At 7:30, I'll write for 10 minutes before deciding on next steps. Treat. If I avoid it, I won't label myself as lazy. I'll ask what made it hard and restart with a smaller action. That's the approach that shifts you from panic to progress. Not through a surge of motivation, but through a thoughtful next move. Here's your task for tonight. Select one task you've been dodging. Then, tackle these 5 questions. What am I avoiding? What feeling lies beneath it? What is the smallest action I can take? When and where will I do it? What will I adjust in my setting? Next, set a timer for 10 minutes. You're free to stop when the timer ends. But you must take that first step. Because taking action alters your narrative. The one saying, "I'll handle it later," remains locked in that loop. But the one who states, "I'll open the document and write just one sentence," has already begun breaking free. You aren't lazy if you find starting difficult. You might be confronting a task that feels daunting, unclear, oversized, or too tempting to avoid. Now, you have your reset method. Identify the real issue. Transform it into a small action. Organize your environment. Craft a clear plan for action. View every setback as learning opportunity. You don't have to feel prepared. You only need to simplify your next move. And if starting continues to be challenging enough to impact your sleep, mood, daily life, or school performance, consult with a trusted adult, counselor, or healthcare expert. This is the Growth Blueprint. Learn more efficiently. Work smarter. Grow throughout your life.